It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports,
Sports don't stop, and neither do we. Welcome to 365 Sports, your home for real conversations, original shows, and coverage that lives where sports actually happen. Join David Smoke, Craig Smoke, and myself, Paul Catalina, for in-depth interviews and local stories to the moments national media misses. 365 Sports brings you the voices, debates, and perspectives fans care about every single day. Subscribe now on YouTube, search 365 Sports, and never miss a moment because sports aren't seasonal. They're 365.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at a stop. I thought I was fine, and then once I got home, I realized it's a lot worse than I thought. I ended up having a ruptured disc. You say you're not hurting, and then an hour later, you're saying you're in all this pain. I just felt like most people would think that I was lying. And that's when I decided to call Daniel Stark. I owe a lot to Daniel Stark. They really got me what I deserved.
The difference is stark.
Just use AmPace.
AmPace.
With Ease US, make studio quality voiceovers for your videos online in over 149 languages and dialects, featuring 468 natural AI voices. Customize the volume, mood, and pauses to perfectly match your content. Plus, capture high quality videos with no watermark. Record your screen, webcam, and voice, and save them instantly to your computer. Never been easier to create professional grade videos and voiceovers. Try it today at easeus.com. That's EASEUS.com. Ease US. Since our founding, we've been revolutionizing hair removal with cutting-edge technology and a commitment to empowerment. The U-Like Air 3, launched in 2023, ushers in a new era of sapphire ice cooling technology, offering nearly painless hair reduction in just 3 weeks. Experience the future of hair removal today at ulike.com, because at Ulike, beauty is about looking and feeling good. That's ULIKE.com. Ulike.
Hey, it's Matt Mosley of The Matt Mosley Show. We want you to watch our show every day, 1 to 3 on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. And you get to see big name guests like Gary Patterson, Art Briles, Scott Drew, Doug McNamee, major Cowboys insiders, ESPN legends like Sal Palantonio. When news breaks on Cowboys or Baylor or NFL, we want you to look here first. 1 to 3 weekdays, it's the Matt Mosley Show.
All right, it's the Pete Sousa Show. Welcome aboard. We are so happy to have you. We're in Flower Mound today. We're talking with Avery Johnson about college basketball and pro basketball and his birthday. That's coming up probably in about 10 minutes. We'll have him for like maybe 10, 12 minutes. And I want to check in with him about what he likes as far as the Final Four is concerned. Of course, Alabama. A school he knows pretty well, former coach of Alabama. And also I want to talk to him a little bit about the North Carolina job, what he would think about that job right now if he would still, had an appetite for coaching at 61 years of age. The guy's 61, he looks like he's 40. So looking forward to talking to Avery Johnson, one of the all-time characters in pro and college basketball. Got to talk off the top of the show about our sponsor, Sikora Family. Thank you so much to Slovacics, Daniel Stark Injury Lawyers, Crawford Austin Properties, and the list goes on. I know Cam is supposed to have like a circle, like some kind of rotation going on, but I guess it hasn't started there. You started yet? Yo, Cam, what's happening? You're back from a sabbatical?
I'm back. I'm back.
So,
big time sabbatical. People thought I was gone forever. Here I am.
It's kind of like an amateur hour trip, though, in a sense where, like that's the bachelor party weekend, right? Like where guys end up being like walked out of casinos or rolled out in like wheelchairs because I got so drunk, like the Thursday and Friday of the NCAA tournament. Like, what brought on this trip for you and this timing of it?
Well, it was at my future in-laws' estate. They have been working on a house on the beach for 3.5 years, and it finally opened up.
Oh, so it was like an opening party.
Yeah, yeah.
So did you like smash a bottle of champagne? Did you smash a bottle of champagne against like a?
We did.
No, you didn't.
It wasn't like a boat thing, but
Okay.
we did toast some champagne when everyone got there. Yeah, it's a good.
Do these people really know what you're like?
Yeah, they've seen enough of me
They
to
do.
know that I'm miserable and.
Can you be cynical around them?
Yeah. I like to egg it on, as a matter of fact. If you could believe it, though, I'm comfortably the quietest one. Like comfortably.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's a loud place. It's a loud thing going on whenever.
Are people drinking a lot?
Yes. Yeah.
All right. That's fun. So I've been watching a lot of the, and I'll talk a little bit about this maybe later in the show, but the love story with JFK, Carolyn Bessette. It is really, so good. It's one of those things, and that's society today. We're so microwave that like if it's not instant right away, if it's not good right away, we give up on it. I do that a lot. This show, I hung with it for like an episode and a half of kind of like, and now it is so freaking good. So good. All right, I'm in. All right, let me talk about Hubert Davis first.
Okay.
Before Avery shows up, because Avery is on a serious time crunch. Oh, I got to put my power cord in here. Well, while I get started doing that, last night the news broke that Hubert Davis is no longer going to be head coach for North Carolina. Now, I found it interesting in his statement that Hubert said he still wants to coach again. And in the very near future, I thought there was a possibility that they were going to work out like a resignation and like some money maybe under the table or all kinds of different ways that they could pay this dude without having to get hit with like an exorbitant buyout. But that's not what happened. So he said, I've been let go by North Carolina. I mean, I think that terminology is important because it's going to lead to him getting that full buyout. And, maybe that plays into who they hire next. A lot of coaches are being mentioned, and this is always fun, right? There's our friend of the show, Jay Wright. There's Jay Wright and Brad Stevens, who you hear right away, who I think everybody crosses off the list right away. Anybody logical. I don't even know if you have a conversation with those guys. Then you have the candidates that maybe make sense. Tommy Lloyd. People are talking a lot about Billy Donovan, right? Like he's in a bad situation in the NBA in Chicago. A lot of folks around him are saying, Billy, you got to go back to the college game where you thrive. And there's a feeling that he could have instant success around that. I don't know. Tommy Lloyd, if you want to hire Tommy Lloyd, you're going to have to wait a couple weeks, you would think. And okay, that's fine. At least like 10 days. But on the other side of that, it's like, if Tommy Lloyd wins a championship, if you have to wait on him for 10 days, is he really going to leave? And then there's other candidates, like I've heard TJ Otzelberger. I think that would be a great hire. I don't know if that's something he would want to do, but I think that would I think that is a home run because, again, TJ Otzelberger he's got way more of a personality than he lets on. Like he's way cool. Has an interest in other people. I've been around him many times, talked to him many times, and he knows me, right? Ask questions about me. He's not one of those coaches who's just trying to get through. Like on days where I've been talking to TJ Otzelberger, just trying to do my job, and I'm trying to get away from him, he wants to know about you, which is like, I think way more, he gives a lot more than people think on that level, which I think qualifies him for the shaking hands and kissing babies aspect of the North Carolina job. But when you look at him on the sidelines or on the bench, you see the muscle golf shirt and just a no-nonsense guy. He can also adapt. Like when he was at South Dakota, if you remember, he had those guys jacking up threes and playing at a faster pace. You know, he's in an environment in Iowa State where he knew he was going to have to get guys that could play defense, guys that could really hunker down and be intense, right? So I think TJ is another name who I think that would be a great hire. And I think if they ask him to take the job, he might be inclined to say yes. He has of all the coaches I've heard kicked around and I've looked around, he's got the lowest buyout. I think it's like $4 million. And then if you get names like Kenny Smith, who's not going to take the job. Charles Barkley was asked over the weekend, Dan Patrick was like, will Kenny take the job? And Charles had a great quote. He's like, man, Kenny couldn't make it through the weekend because Kenny got sick, I guess, and missed the rest of the coverage. So it's like, Kenny's not going to take that job. But again, that's when you talk about Kenny Smith maybe taking that job. That's like the buyout, like for him is nothing because he's on TNT. I'll be so curious to see what they do here. You're North Carolina. I have two things on this before Avery Johnson joins us. One, you're North Carolina, so you don't need to make a splashy hire because you are North Carolina. I have three thoughts, actually. Two, it sucks how these coaches get no chance now to snap out of a funk, whether the funk is 2 years or 1 year. This guy made the championship in his first year, the championship game. Ultimately, they lost. And then, you have the number one team in the country who doesn't make the tournament. This year, you're a bubble team. You make it, or you're not a bubble team. You were a bubble team the year before and you made it. This year, you make it. You lose in the first round after leading a bubble team by 19. I mean, it's not a good look. I get it. But if you look at resumes of the best coaches of all time, there's always a period of grace that they get. I mean, whether it's Mike Krzyzewski, Bobby Knight, Billy Donovan, like everybody gets a moment in time where you're allowed to fail. Jay Wright, but there's no patience for that anymore. And this brings me to my big point, okay? As Avery Johnson is here right now. So we'll get to him in 20 seconds. I just want to say, my last point is this a climate where you want to take a job like North Carolina because the expectations are very high? You still aren't exactly sure of where we're going, like with the rules. There's people that know way more about that than I do, but just calling games and traveling around, I know that there's a ton of frustration around that. So do you really understand what you're getting yourself into? And third, I don't think you can take advantage of North Carolina and all the school is in this era where you can outbid by a school who's got a guy that's fast and loose that's willing to do a big-time NIL deal. So we'll get back to that in a little bit, but without further ado, I want to bring on the birthday boy, Avery Johnson. Happy birthday. Thank you so much for joining the Pete Sousa Show this morning.
Oh, thank you so much. Thanks for having me. Really excited. It is a great day. It's a great day. I feel like I'm 35.
Well, you look like you're 35, so that's a start. I can tell you that much. You came into my life when I was a real young kid because I was a huge basketball nut. And then, again, I worked for the Charlotte Bobcats when Bernie Bickerstaff was a GM and head coach. And on Bernie, we had a celebration for Bernie on his last night coaching. And you had this amazing video. It's when you were coaching for the Mavs. Mm-hmm. And you talked about how Bernie really helped discover you and put you in a situation to succeed. And once you got given that opportunity, I mean, you'll be quick to give everybody else credit, but you took care of the rest. And I only want to ask one question about you, but on your birthday, do you look back at your storied career and think, man, I have so much gratitude because there were a lot of things that happened where doors opened up for me. And when they did, I bulldozed right through.
I thought about it early this morning when my daughter sent me a birthday text, and she posted something on Instagram on her page, and I subsequently posted on mine, Coach Avery 6, and it was me guarding Larry Bird, right? It was my rookie year. And, here's 6'10" Larry Bird, 5'10" and a half barely, Avery Johnson. And, that was a long time ago. That was almost 40 years ago, probably 38 years ago. And just knowing that I was an undrafted rookie, I beat out 11 other guys to make that team with Seattle. And, I wasn't married, didn't have any kids, just trying to find my way. And here I am, stuck on arguably one of the greatest players to ever play the game. And it just brought back a lot of memories, all of the doors, front and back doors that I had to go through to really try to stabilize and further my career.
And that career obviously led you to an illustrious coaching career, especially around here in the DFW. I mean, people love Avery Johnson, especially now, some of the recent trials. But with all your work this year with CBS and years prior, covering college basketball and doing a great job that you've done, I've got a chance to see you a lot. What team this year specifically has jumped out to you as now we come down the stretch in March and it's go time, right? Sweet 16 Thursday night. Your Alabama Crimson Tide still in it. When you look at this pool, what team jumps out at you?
Well, Alabama, obviously, my son is a graduate of Alabama, played for me 3 years there. And we were part of trying to resurrect that program. And then Nate Oates has come in and taken it to another level. And it's been timing because I wish I would have had the NIL. I wish I would have had, that would have fit me perfectly coming from the NBA. So obviously that game with Michigan is going to be a high scoring game between Alabama and Michigan. I got my eyes on St. John's, St. John's with Rick Pitino. This team, a lot of people thought they were just a fraudulent team when they lost by 30 during the regular season at Connecticut and all hell broke loose. But this team is a terrific team, well coached. When you look at, the way they made that game-winning shot to continue win in the NCAA tournament when people thought they were beat by Kansas with a guy who hadn't even scored in the game, who really wasn't playing well in with Dillon. So it's I really got my eyes on them. One of my lead investors for my private equity fund, or one of my major investors, Mike Rapoli, is a big supporter of that program and helped resurrect it. So I want to see him happy. So I'm really hopeful that St. John's can march on.
What were your experiences either working with or playing against a Rick Pitino coach team? What was that like? I mean, as a player being on the other end of that, what did you experience in the NBA especially?
Well, I've never coached against Rick. I've coached against his son, Richard Pitino, when we had 3 players finish the game against Minnesota when Richard Pitino was at Minnesota in one of the Thanksgiving Classics. And we almost won. Colin Sexton, who now plays for the Bulls, and Herb Jones, who now plays for New Orleans Pelicans, 2 of my players that we discovered. We almost pulled it off. But Rick Pitino's teams are going to always be hard-nosed, 94 feet, physical type team. So it's going to be interesting to see against Cam Boozer, the Boozer brothers, what's going to happen if they can get enough space to operate. Ejiofor, that matchup with Ejiofor and Boozer inside, that's going to be a man's game. No boys allowed. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see, and whether Isaiah Evans is going to have enough space to get off some of those 3-pointers against Dillon Mitchell. So it's in DC. We know both teams are going to have an outstanding crowd. So that, I believe, that's going to be must-see TV.
Your experience coaching in the NBA and coaching in college, right now sitting here talking to us on your birthday, if you had an opportunity, which if you wanted to, you would, to go back and coach in either college or the NBA, what would you prefer right now?
Well, neither. My focus would be more on, helping a family if they want to eventually become NBA owners. That's where my focus is. I'm more of a senior advisor type now, but I would say the NBA would be still a smooth transition if that's a route I wanted to go. But again, like I said, what's happening in college when it's, legal, it's legal, everything's legal now. Yeah. Back when I was coaching, you couldn't buy a kid a hamburger or but now there's no restrictions really, independent of what the compliance officers may say in college. So I think either one would be a smooth transition if I were to ever wake up one day and decide that's something that I want to do again, but I highly doubt it.
All right, a couple more questions for you, and we'll get you out of here. The North Carolina job has come open. I was saying before you came on, I almost believe, I have a theory, and I don't have access, I have access to some people that know a lot because I travel with guys like you calling games, which is always amazing to get intel from guys like you who've lived it. But a job like North Carolina, like a blue blood job, maybe doesn't seem to me at least like it's as enticing for a coach who's winning where they are right now, because it's a situation where you really are not quite sure what you're getting yourself into. Like if you're winning now, if you're Tommy Lloyd, or if you're even Todd Golden at Florida, are you more comfortable, coach, staying put where you are and winning where as some of these rules and all this NIL stuff gets sorted out? Or would you rather just go right to the big job and go to the highest part of the mountain?
Pre-NIL, those guys would have jumped at this job on the first phone call. But you got to realize they got really outstanding gigs right now. Arizona, Florida. What is Dan Hurley going to leave Connecticut and go to Carolina? Is Kelvin Sampson going to leave Houston and go? Those guys are, and not only that, when you talk about, Dan Hurley, he's got an operation going in Connecticut. Kelvin Sampson is not even Houston, it's the city. It's the city where he's living. Golden, had a chance to win back-to-back tournaments, but they got knocked out. He's in a really great situation. But the competition now is so much greater because of NIL. Think about this. If you look at some of the top jobs historically in college football, at one point you wouldn't even think about SMU, but now SMU has poured so much money into their football program, they're relevant now in football. You look at some of the other teams that are making a charge up the ladder. Texas has one of the largest football budgets with my good friend Steve Sarkisian. And, you look at the Manning, who very well may be an early favorite to win the Heisman this year, whereas it only used to be the Alabamas of the world. Now it's more teams that have a real chance. Indiana, who would have ever thought?
Yes. Yeah, that's a great example. That's the example right there. Yeah.
Basketball? Yes. Football? But things are changing. Kirk Cignetti, along with billion-dollar donors, have recharged that program, and they're basically going from worse a couple of years ago to first.
Yeah, it's a pretty crazy climate. All right, one more for you. Who is your national champion? You've seen a lot of these college teams. You talk to a lot of people. You got practice access when you're calling one of these games. You're behind the curtain a lot. Who do you like to win the title this year?
Well, I'm somewhat concerned about some of my picks, but here, for CBS,
everybody is this time of year. Avery,
yeah,
come on.
Yeah, but CBS Sports Network and CBS Sports HQ, all of my friends and colleagues who I love working with. Big shout out to everybody at our network. But when as an analyst, when we have to submit our brackets, I submitted St. John's, Houston, Arizona, and Iowa State.
That's exactly mine. That's my Final Four as well. Yeah, I love it.
I had Arizona State, beating Houston in the final game.
Yeah.
But I am pulling for other teams. But as an analyst, those are the teams that I selected based on momentum coming into the tournament, body of work, health of teams. I didn't expect Joshua Jefferson to be injured with an ankle situation with Iowa State. But that's what I picked. And but if three of those teams don't make it, I wouldn't be surprised. Last year, I had Houston beating Duke, Houston beating Florida. So I had the two final teams. I just didn't have it in the correct order.
That's pretty darn good. Before we let you go, anything you want to say about your venture, trying to help families buy games, any kind of word we could get out there? That's pretty interesting situation you got going.
Yeah, we're doing a lot of great work. We're here in Dallas. We work on the south side of Dallas with a group called Behind Every Door, where we impact 5,000 families. We took over a building that was in bankruptcy. We raised close to $14 million, and now we have a football field with 500 kids in the football program. The Mavericks helped us with our basketball gym. We have a commercial kitchen with space for events. We have a bank, which is the first bank in a 3-mile radius. We have a chapel where people can get married and church services. We have people that can come in and we can help them get their GEDs to feed into community college. We have a health program where we can get people to emergent care in hospitals. So we're doing a great work on the south side of Dallas at Cedar Crest, but it's called Behind Every Door. I'm really proud of the work that we're doing.
All right, we'll put a link to that, by the way, in this interview when it goes up online.
And one more plug.
Yeah, one more. Let's go.
I got to plug my son's Avery Jr.'s drink called Flourish. Flourish Hydration. Flerish. It's a watermelon-based hydration drink. I'm so proud of my son, Avery Jr. I'm proud of my daughter, Christiane. So I'm really proud of them. And I just love them so much.
Look at you on your birthday, showering others with praise. All right, soak it up yourself, man. It's your day. Hey, happy birthday, Avery. And we're going to put those links in the show notes, but I really appreciate you taking the time. I'm sure it's a very busy day for you.
Thank you.
You got it. Thanks for joining us. Avery Johnson, the general. That's pretty cool, man. That guy has been in my life for a long time, a tremendous analyst, a tremendous coach, and a tremendous player. Like, when you think about that Larry Bird picture description, just so much about his career and about like what he overcame to be a member of the club being the NBA. And then, admittance into that club, earns him opportunities to be a head coach. I mean, he had the Mavericks. The Mavericks you could say they got screwed. Avery should be an NBA champion, but the Mavericks got screwed. I mean, hey, it was what it was, but I remember that 2006 NBA Finals like it was yesterday. And boy, they were calling everything in favor of Dwayne Wade and the Heat. Everything. And it just seemed like, in the middle of that season, the Heat let Stan Van Gundy go or moved him to a different part of the organization. Pat Riley took over. It was in the cards. Yeah, but man, Avery was right there knocking on the door. And behind every door, that's the initiative that he's behind. And Cameron, can we put that in the show notes? We can, right? And
we can. Yep, we can. Right. Behind every door and flourish. FLE. Right. Flourish. Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back. The Pete Sousa Show rolls on after this.
Bumblebee Blinds of Waco and Temple is your one-stop shop for custom window treatment, transforming your vision into reality. Choose from a selection of shades, blinds, shutters, and curtains. Bumblebee Blinds stands behind our service and products, ensuring peace of mind with our trusted warranty. Call Bumblebee Blinds today to schedule your design consultation. Bumblebee Blinds, simplifying window treatments one covering at a time. BumblebeeBlinds.com.
Hey, it's Zach Gelb. We're talking NFL and college football. Plus, we have some of the biggest interviews in sports media. You got to check out the Zach Gelb Show right here on 365 Sports, weekdays, 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 to 3 p.m. Central. And make sure you subscribe to my channel, youtube.com/@ZachGelbShow.
Save big during the Start Something New sales event at Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Waco. Drive a new Ram 1500 Lone Star Crew Cab with $13,000 off, or choose 0% financing. Get a new Laramie Crew Cab 4-wheel drive with 3.9% financing for 72 months, plus $15,000 off MSRP. Explore in a new Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo, starting at $31,990. Happening now at Allen Samuels.
Come by, let's be friends.
Hi, I'm Jo from Face Theory. You're going to want to have a specific goal for your skincare routine. What do you want to achieve? Active ingredients are really strong, and if you're using too many at once, your skin can get overwhelmed. Don't overspend on products. Choose products that have scientific research behind them. At Face Theory, if you're not happy with a product, just say so, just give us a shout and we'll give you your money back, no problem.
Streamline event and appointment booking with Amelia's sleek, modern, and fully customizable booking forms. Tailor the colors, fonts, and design to match your brand and seamlessly integrate with your WordPress website. Whether it's for events or appointments, Amelia makes booking simple, stylish, and perfectly aligned with your business. Enhance your booking experience today at WPAmelia.com. That's WPAMELIA.com. Amelia.
When you learn a language with Babbel, you start a journey that takes you further and further. Anytime and anywhere you wish. It's easy and fun. Broadens your horizons and keeps your brain fit. A journey into new thoughts, new cultures, new adventures. So what are you waiting for? Start your journey with Babbel now. Go to babbel.com or download the app.
If you want a Boston sports show that's going to insult you as a fan and only cares about getting back at their old hosts or who Bill Belichick is dating, then keep tuning your radio. But if you want a sports show that's wicked good, wicked smart, wicked passionate, then you need the Wicked Boston Show with me, Cam Stewart. It is the only Boston sports talk show that is by the fans and for the fans. One voice in this city where the only BS is Boston sports. The Wicked Boston Show.
BadCreditLoans.com is a pioneering service provider that has carved a reputation in the financial industry for its dedication to helping individuals with bad credit secure loans. By making timely repayments, borrowers can gradually repair their credit history, thereby increasing their chances of securing better loan terms in the future. BadCreditLoans.com serves as a beacon of hope for those with bad credit. Simple, fast, and reliable loan application process. And its commitment to responsible borrowing makes it a trusted partner in the journey towards financial stability.
All right, Cam, I want to show you something. So this is so funny because after your commercial, come on, you can come on up. Like I had Darby on Monday. And so I want you to watch how hard she's laughing at this. Okay.
Okay.
Avery just texted. Look at this. This is Chris Visser. See, Chris knows how to push. He knows my buttons. Avery just texted us, said thank you, called it a solid show. It was solid. See, I mean, that's pretty good because Avery didn't seem like he was terribly impressed. But so, you know what I mean? He's like a tough judge.
He just sent a nice text to me. He said, thanks for having him on.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, Avery.
Yeah, I told him, hey, I appreciate it. No, it's a busy day. He's got a lot going on.
Yeah, that was very cool of him. And that's Chris Visser for you, too. Thank you very much, Chris. Okay, so watch this. So, you know, that commercial with you, Cam, is like a little over the top. Like you are really, you're going for it.
I got to get people to watch the show.
That's marketing. This is not a knock on you. But I want you to watch our friend, and you can tell this woman really likes you because of her reaction to this. Now, this is her and I talking, okay? You are royalty around here. So Chris Visser is our producer, and I was like, Chris, I'll get a guest from Monday. I was like, I'll get Darby. And then afterwards, he's like, TJ Ford's going to join us. I'm like, Darby Brown's joining us. TJ. So for real, and I swear to God, I said, we move stuff around for Darby. Darby, you are our first guest, regular on this show.
Yeah, I know. Look at you now. I was watching. You got ad after ad after ad. It's a good
don't
time,
even have. And we got Cam Stewart, like Jesse the Body Ventura, like a wrestler we don't even know. Who is that person? Did you see how hard she was laughing?
Yikes.
I mean, watch her. Look at her. I want you to watch her face. And Darby is like such a beautiful soul. Watch how hard she was laughing.
That's a good
And we got Cam Stewart, like Jesse the Body Ventura, like a wrestler we don't even know. Who is that person? Like she's dying laughing. Like she's one of our favorite people. And look how giddy she is. I mean, one more time. This is like as good as I'll get editing something. We don't even know. Who is that person?
All
right,
at the expense of the Wicked Boston show.
Hey, but no, look. Hey, Kevin Fisher has something to say. It's a wicked good show,
Kevin
right?
Fisher, man, big fan.
That commercial is amazing. It's amazing.
I mean, look, there are some others that could be a little snoozy, and I was like,
what about Mosley? Where it seems like towards the end, he just started. Mosley seems like he does his pitch, right? Like major Cowboys insiders, Doug McNamee, and at some point
then
he
he's
realizes,
like, "Oh no, I got time left."
Yeah, and he's also realizing like this isn't going the way that I wanted it to. Like I'm saying, major Cowboys insiders. He's smart. Like, who's that, Matt? And he's like Doug McNamee. He's probably like people might not know who that is, and you can tell he's reading something over there. So then his hair is done up, it's all a chore for him, you know.
Sure.
And,
he didn't want to do it a second time. He was like, "Yeah, it's good. That's fine."
Major Cowboys insiders. Like I think he's talking about himself. Like because I'm here every day. He's a major Cowboys insider.
Kind of a Cowboys insider, yeah.
All right, let's check out one thing. I pulled this during the break. So these are odds, guys, for the next head coach. These are Kalshi odds. Now, maybe you can help me make sense of this, but I wanted to give Kalshi a crack because they're sponsoring us all March long. So make sure you get involved with Kalshi. We're going to give you a promo code here coming up soon before the Sweet 16. So you can actually get involved yourself, be a part of this wagering trading deal, and then we can all benefit, right? Because if you use our promo code, then we benefit. You go on Kalshi, you win, then you benefit. And of course, Kalshi's got to benefit because they're making this happen. So here it is. What do you think of this list, Cam, as you just cut off? I mean, that was a good try, but now we can't see the names, Cameron.
Sorry. I tried, man. I tried to make you bigger.
Do you know how this makes sense? So they have Billy Donovan as the favorite, clearly. Then they have TJ Otzelberger, then Nate Oates, then Tommy Lloyd, Mark Byington from St. Louis, Dusty May, Todd Golden, Grant McCaslin, and Jerry Stackhouse. So, somebody asked Jeff Goodman, why the heck aren't they talking to Jerry Stackhouse? And Jeff Goodman instructed this person to go look at Jerry Stackhouse's record at Vanderbilt, and that would answer any question that they have.
Yeah, but Carolina is messed up enough to do that. They are so insular, man. They want a Carolina guy.
I apologize because we have this up now, and we'll leave it up. But for you, Cam, a Duke guy, right? Like your name, Cam Stewart, after Cameron Indoor Arena. Yeah, what do you make of this whole situation? Like, what does, in your opinion, because it does seem right, like North Carolina's chasing Duke, and it seems like John Shire's early success, as this happens so often, puts pressure on the school and Hubert Davis to have more and more success. You saw it, BYU or Utah fires their basketball coach in the middle of the season last year because of all of BYU's success, and they hire Alex Jensen, and you see it happening at these rivaling schools, right? How they compete with one another. As a Duke guy, you look at the situation in North Carolina. What's the first thing you think of?
It makes me think of the people, and I'm sure you're amongst this group, Pete, that are like, man, the NFL is better when the Cowboys are good. Baseball's better when the Yankees are good. And there are probably some Duke fans out there that are like, it's better when Carolina's good. I don't care.
No,
I don't care. I like laughing at them, man. I do. And look, I'm not going to sit here and say they are like this dog mess of a program, the University of North Carolina. Okay. I'm not going to do that. But the recruiting war between Duke and UNC turned years ago, if not like decades ago, but literally the last 10 years or so, 15 years, when you're talking purely from a recruiting standpoint, Duke has dominated that. And putting guys in the pros, putting all-stars in the pros. Duke has dominated that, which was Carolina's claim to fame for so long. And you look at even Roy Williams, who is a top 5 coach probably in the history of college basketball. Like Roy Williams is that good. At worst, top 10, right? Like every couple of years, they'd have a mediocre season and they'd miss the tournament. And like you did start to appreciate that as a Duke fan, that really never happened. You know, there was the COVID year the COVID year that they played in 2021 when Baylor won it all, that Duke missed the tournament. But other than that, Carolina would miss it 3 times to Duke's 1 or 4 times to Duke's 1. So I do think it's funny that they are so, again, like kind of insulated for lack of a better term, that they're saying, you know, they said with the Hubert Davis hire, like he's our guy. He's a Carolina guy, class act. You've been on the staff before. And when they made that hire, I was chomping at the bit. I was so excited as a quasi Duke fan these days. And it did come to bite me at first, right? They beat Duke in the Final Four, but I was like, that is not going to last. That is not the answer. And here we are again. And maybe Carolina's finally going to open their eyes and say, hey, maybe we should go outside. Yeah. Because the last time we did that, it worked really well. Like Roy Williams obviously is a UNC alum. But he was leaving one of the best college basketball jobs.
He had proven himself elsewhere.
Yeah.
And
like
Hubert didn't do that. And
right.
That's unfortunate.
Right.
You know, and if Joe Wolf had kicked ass at East Carolina many years ago and, you know, like it continued to rise up the ranks and proven his worth, then maybe he's the guy you hire. You know, and so it's a tough scenario. I totally agree with you. Like what's happening at North Carolina, that they've fallen behind. And I believe like there's no quick fix in this environment, by the way. Like Carolina could hire a guy who could take them to the Final Four next year, but it's not like baked in like it used to be. Like it's a matter of time, huh?
It feels rented.
Yeah.
Even if you make the Final Four, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think it will change. And I think Avery Johnson gave us a pretty good answer. Like, yo, man, like, you know, I wouldn't be comfortable. Like a blue blood is not a blue blood right now. I really believe that. Like anybody can come in and take your players. These kids, you know, they don't have the sense of history is tailing off. I told a story yesterday, Cam, when I was working with Perry Clark the other night. He was talking about when South Carolina was playing Duke in the regional in 2017, when South Carolina won and went to the Final Four. At halftime, Duke was putting it on them. And Frank Martin's the head coach of South Carolina, but Perry had coached, you know, against Krzyzewski, had Krzyzewski coaching at Miami, and then was an assistant at Georgia Tech forever with Bobby Kremen. So he knew Duke. He knew the monster that it was. And Perry said when halftime hit, he just got in a couple guys' faces and was like, F Duke, man. Like, F Duke, F Mike Krzyzewski, like, F that logo, that jersey that's making you all effing scared. Like, you guys are scared, not of the guys on the floor you're playing against. You're scared of Duke. And he said he was like, he just couldn't believe how these kids were like sticker shocked. And he could tell. And, you know, they go out in the second half and they win the game.
They scored 61 points in the second half of that game, Pete.
A Perry Clark half, dude.
Jason Tatum's last game at Duke. Yep.
Get out of here. How about that?
Yeah. I remember it well. And then they ended up playing Baylor the next round. So Sindarius Thornwell, South Carolina, that went all the way to the Final Four.
No, they played Baylor before, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Did they?
Yeah. Because Baylor didn't go that far.
Baylor went to the Sweet 16.
Yeah, I think they beat Baylor Thursday night in a Sweet 16 game, or Friday night, and then they went on to beat Duke in the East Final 8. Yeah,
I can double check that at the risk of embarrassing
I am
you.
right. Not could be I am. And it was my first week at KWTX. So I remember very well. I was supposed to do a talkback interview with Troy somebody on our morning show. And it was one of those deals where I pitched to him to ask him a question, but he thought it was going to be like a look live, and he just started talking. And I was like, "It's supposed to be a back and forth," and it went off. It went sideways.
All right, let's see real quick. 2017, South Carolina run to the Final Four. In the first round, they beat Marquette. In the second round, They beat Duke in the
Oh.
Sweet 16. They beat Baylor.
All right. Ah.
It sucks being right all the time.
All right, well, who they beat in the final 8?
Florida.
Whatever, Perry. Perry gave me bad info. All right.
It's easy
But
to,
no,
easy to mix up.
but here's the thing. I don't know. What did you say?
Easy to mix up.
I don't know if there is a sticker shock like that now in college basketball. I think that we've seen so many different champions. I think we've seen, and I'm talking about recent history, because that's all these kids know. These
Right.
kids are not like you and me, Cam. Like
Right. And I was just going to look at it from a local standpoint, dude. VJ Edgecombe picked Baylor over Duke and Kentucky. Like,
yeah,
even with a banner, like to some of us, that shouldn't happen, but it does. It happens all the time now.
Yeah, exactly. And
it's not just the money they can give you. Obviously, that is a part of it in the NIL era, and that's what you were kind of talking about with the extra stuff that comes with a college basketball job now, and why the blue bloods aren't blue bloods. That is part of it for sure, but part of it is also what you're talking about right now. Is like, and I think that's happening to Carolina more than it is to Duke. You know what I mean? These kids are like, oh, yeah, but who played at UNC? Michael Jordan did. Yeah, cool. Rasheed Wallace, sure. Vince Carter, yep. Who recently? Harrison Barnes?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, you look at the last, I think I think they might have had a guy make the All-Star team this year, and it would have been the first one since like 2008. So
really?
Yeah, it's been a while. In fact, you might need to go back to, it might have been your pal, Raymond Felton.
No, he wasn't an All-Star, bro.
You don't think he made, it was a weird name. It was somebody that was like a one-time All-Star. I'm going to look it up.
If Raymond was an All-Star, no.
I'm telling you, it was a weird name, but I'll look it up.
All right. So there you have it. But I do believe like these jobs just, and it can go back to how it was. I just think they'll have to institute some governors as far as like, who's spending what. And it's going to take a lot. Like, you talk to people, I've talked to coaches all around it, and they're like, some have crazy ideas. Like they should shut it down for 2 years. And that would get like a response out of like, schools, players, TV networks, like the understanding that like, look, this is because there's no more education. There's no more student athlete. Like it's crazy. We want to celebrate this time of year, but when you have a job open like this, I think it's reason to just kind of step back and look at the state of the game. So I believe they're going to hire, you know what? I'm not even going to pretend like I know. I have no idea. I think Billy Donovan is a guy who they will be lucky to have and very happy to have. I think the best coach on this list is TJ Otzelberger long term. And I think he would jive there. The one thing about Otzelberger, and I learned this just working with Josh Pastner this last week, he's a coach at UNLV now. Okay. Mm-hmm. And we were talking about how when he was at UNLV, Otzelberger he left. We had, what's his name on the Lon Kruger, right? Lon at UNLV, then his son, like that did not work, dude. Like Jay Wright, we talked to him about Rolly Massimino and Jay coaching at UNLV. Like that's a hard place to coach. But the reason I bring that up is because there was a lot of bells and whistles and attention and sizzle to that project and that job. And TJ Otzelberger wanted no part of it. He was there for 1 year. And the moment he got there, he wanted to get out of there. And he will tell you that in no uncertain terms. Like it was a bad fit. That's kind of what his line is. So I think there could be some hesitation by folks in the analysis game or whatever to say, hey, he may not want this job. I disagree. I think I think people would love his aw shucks, very respectful, very good buttoned up dude at Iowa State. I don't think Danny Hurley works. I'm sorry, North Carolina. I don't think Danny Hurley works at North Carolina.
No. Yeah, and I was going to ask you about that. Like UNC, which probably a little bit better than I do, is like it's a wine and cheese crowd.
Yeah,
like, it really is, and there is a certain kind of dude that needs to work there. When you talk about Kentucky, it's a guy that needs to have the thickest skin possible. At Carolina, there's a bit of that, but you need to be a politician.
Yeah,
in a lot of ways. And they're not the only program like that, but you need a politician who can also win basketball games. That's a tough thing. And part of this story is Bubba Cunningham, UNC's athletic director. Like, is he on thin ice here? Because he made a football coaching hire that in year one looked like a disaster, a hire that he apparently did not want to make in Bill Belichick. And the worst part about all of that is not only did the team stink, but they looked like a punchline. They looked like a laughing stock, of what on earth is going on at UNC. Used to be a proud athletic department, and now they're taking flyers on old guys who are dating young ladies and letting them run the show. Like it was a disaster in that sense, in a PR sense. And so now this is the sport they really care about. You're going to go off script by getting someone who's not a UNC guy. Because if you do, that is Jerry Stackhouse, and that's a disaster. You got to go a little off script, and it's got to be someone who gets it right away. And Carolina is on a different timetable than a lot of other programs. Ask Mark Pope at Kentucky. Your timeline is 3 years. Let's get to the Final Four. That's where we're supposed to be. And Mark Pope is going to start to feel it here at Kentucky. Bubba Cunningham is probably feeling it a little bit.
Bubba Cunningham is a great example, and we saw it with Gene Taylor with the Kansas State thing. Those guys are kind of selling out in a way that they get paid so much money. And when the school president comes to Gene Taylor and says, look, you're going to fire Jerome Tang with cause, and you're going to sit there in front of the press and talk to him about it.
Tell him why.
As though it was your decision, which it was not. The same thing with Bubba Cunningham. Like, that's not his idea to hire Bill Belichick. And it has torpedoed a good portion of the athletic department, because now this potentially could affect their hire and their NIL because of all the money they're paying Bill Belichick. And they've got to be thoughtful about, we may have to fire him soon and pay him out, right? And then hire somebody else. So they've got to be mindful of all this when basically some jacked up AD or jacked up president or board member without a clue wanted to make a splashy hire and thought Bill Belichick could figure things out in a second. That's why you have these athletic directors, and it's partially on the AD because, if you're a lot of guys, and I've talked to an athletic director who said, I would not have done that. What Gene Taylor did, I would have said, no way. You want to do that? You do it. It's insane.
Handle it.
Yeah. So whatever. I'll be interested to see what happens, but I think we've made some pretty good points here that this job is not what it used to be. All right. When we come back,
real quick question to kind of close it out. What does Hubert Davis do next? Back to TV?
That's my concern for him, honestly. Because now he says he wants to coach again, which I think is a bad look for him. I really do. Like, where's he going to coach? This reminds me of Mike Davis leaving Kentucky or leaving Indiana and going to coach somewhere else. Like, I don't know. I don't have the best vibe. I just don't. Like, he's unproven. I think at a smaller school, he would be considered a splashy hire. And then he's
still looking.
Yeah, he's looking. He wants a job.
BC is still looking.
Oh, I know who's going to be BC's next head coach, by the way.
I think they have a good idea too. Who are you thinking? The Merrimack guy?
No, I think it's going to be. I think they want the guy from Tulsa, Eric Conkle.
Yes, I have seen that recently.
I think he's their number one guy.
One of the two. Yeah,
they won again last night. He won 26 games at Tulsa this year for the first time since Bill Self did it. They may win the NIT. His team is really good. They play a really fun brand of basketball, and he's got it going there. Now it's like an inversion though, because he was terrible the 3 years before this year, maybe the 4 years before this year. Bad, like 5 wins the first year. Last year they won 13 games. So it's been like a 14 game turnaround. So it's like, but again, it's BC. Like,
Yeah. What are you gonna do? Frank Martin out at UMass, maybe? Hubert Davis can go there?
Maybe, yeah. That job's like a graveyard.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah, right. It is, right? Yep. I mean, Travis Ford, is he going to coach there?
I don't know.
Eric Kellogg, maybe he could go back?
It just sucks, man. They could have been close to what UConn is now. if the Calipari momentum had rode on. Like I'm serious, they could, and I say close to because now UConn has become even like one of the best programs in the country.
Yeah.
But like the way UMass was going in those Calipari years, like if they had made the right hire after that and had someone stick around for a while, I think they could have been in a bigger conference years and years ago, and they could have been a basketball quasi power. How about that?
Yeah, and look, that's a possibility.
They could have won national championships. He got them to a Final Four.
You could also push back and say that it was almost reckless the way that Calipari was building those teams, and there's no way you could have sustained that, right?
Yeah, maybe.
All right, we'll be back. I'm going to tell you what has not changed in 30 years of college basketball and what it takes to win a national title. More importantly, to be in the conversation for a national title. Stay with you. Stay with us. We're presented by Slovaceks, and I'm giving away the answers to the test after this. Don't go anywhere.
Bumblebee Blinds of Waco and Temple is your one-stop shop for custom window treatment, transforming your vision into reality. Choose from a selection of shades, blinds, shutters, and curtains. Bumblebee Blinds stands behind our service and products, ensuring peace of mind with our trusted warranty. Call Bumblebee Blinds today to schedule your design consultation. Bumblebee Blinds, simplifying window treatments one covering at a time. BumblebeeBlinds.com.
Looking for football talk without the fluff? It's Down and Dirty with Scott Mitchell, a former NFL quarterback breaking down the game from the inside, plus real conversations about sports, leadership, life, and everything in between. No hot takes for clicks, just honest analysis, strong opinions, and stories you won't hear anywhere else. Football talk and more, the way it's supposed to be. Subscribe now to Down and Dirty with Scott Mitchell on YouTube.
It doesn't matter if your investment budget is small or big. All you need is Benzinga Pro and its powerful news alerts, price tracking, and portfolio monitoring. Subscribe now, and we'll skyrocket your portfolio today.
Experience with the Bosley MD hair regrowth kit was amazing. It was easy to use. It let me take off my hat. I could go in public and have my picture taken and feel normal again.
BosleyMD.com.
Join us at golfpartnerusa.com and discover why we're the trusted choice for golf lovers worldwide. That's GOLFPARTNERUSA.com. Golf Partner. Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internxt. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. That's INTERNXT.com today.
Apollo Neuro is a new kind of wearable that helps your body recover from stress, that helps you calm down and feel better. You sleep better, and you can get back to being yourself. Learn more at apolloneuro.com.
Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. NordVPN.com. That's NORDVPN.com.
Our patented handles were launched in 2018. We continue to push the boundaries of strength training. Join us in making your training more natural and effective. Visit Engels90.com to learn more and revolutionize your workout.
Dive into adventure with Scuba.com, your ultimate destination for top-tier scuba and snorkeling gear. Whether you're a beginner or a pro, trust Scuba.com for the best in diving equipment and expert guidance. Explore now at Scuba.com. That's SCUBA.com. Scuba.com. At FullWell, we bring together the expertise of registered dietitians, MDs, and OBGYNs to give you the best fertility support. FullWell, your trusted partner on your fertility journey. Visit us at FullWellFertility.com. Experience the perfect blend of exquisite craftsmanship and life-changing technology with Gevi. Every product is built with precision, featuring specialized parts that ensure durability, efficiency, and safety. Upgrade your everyday with Gevi. Visit us at gevi.com to discover more.
It's the Pete Sousa Show.
With Sohnne, owning iconic furniture no longer requires paying a premium. With over 15,000 satisfied customers worldwide, we've proven that high-quality furniture doesn't have to come with a high price tag. Explore our collection today at Sohnne.com.
At Covers and All, we've revolutionized protective solutions with cutting-edge, customizable covers, tarps, and curtains. We deliver premier protection at affordable prices and express shipping. Visit coversandall.com today for the perfect fit, guaranteed to last.
Hi, my name is Mike Lacey. I'm with Beyond the Game, a new podcast to the Rogue Media Network. Just when you thought you'd had a little bit too much about BYU, here we are to provide you even a little bit more. I, as part of the BYU group, am grateful that we're part of the Big 12 and really grateful that we're part of the Rogue Media Network. Thank you.
You guys are way too humble. I mean, let me tell you that. Oh, hold on. You may be okay. I'm back. The BYU guys are too humble. Like, it's like, Mike, you played with Steve Young. You played with Jim McMahon. Like, you are a bad dude. Like, you're not part of the BYU. Oh, sorry. You're not part of the BYU group. You played for Lavelle Edwards. Like that's the opposite of what Mosley's trying to do when he realizes he's going left on his little pitch there and he has to start making stuff up. Gary Patterson. He called him Gary Fatterson by accident too the first time. I couldn't believe that. I'm joking, by the way. All right, I'm going to show you something that's really special. But just so you know, Gary Fatterson is a popular Twitter account that puts a lot of funny stuff up there. Okay, so what has not changed in 30 years? You can say 50 years of college basketball. What stays consistent? And this actually bleeds into the North Carolina topic, okay? I'm going to put this up here. Now, these are your Sweet 16 teams, okay? Duke is at the bottom there. That's all you need to know. Let's go through these teams, okay? Now, the first two teams, there are three coaches here that I'm going to tell you about that I'll say, and one of them still could get in. Okay, let's start with Nebraska. Fred Hoiberg. He's not going to be in the Hall of Fame, but he's a good coach. He's a solid coach. Ben McCollum with Iowa. There's a lot of work to be done there, right? But right now, he's just a special coach. Now, Dr. Tom Davis is in the Basketball Hall of Fame, and Dr. Tom Davis, in his first year at Iowa, he had similar success that Ben McCollum's having now. I think they went to an Elite Eight. And so that's, keep that in mind. Like, Ben McCollum's clearly on the right path. Tom Izzo is going to the Hall of Fame. Brad Underwood certainly has a chance, okay? Certainly has a chance, but not right now, okay? So that's the third coach in the Sweet 16 that will not go to the Basketball Hall of Fame. Purdue, Matt Painter, I'm going to say yes. Dusty May, I'm going to say no right now. But that's like knocking on the door, okay? Sean Miller, no. I mean, probably never, but you never know, okay? Rick Barnes, yes. Nate Oates, quite possibly. John Calipari, yes. And now it's just yes, okay? TJ Altenberger, I'm going to say yes. Kelvin Sampson, yes. Tommy Lloyd, yes. Rick Pitino, yes. Danny Hurley, yes. And then John Shire, no, but possibly yes. My point is, and this is with the lack of mid-majors in the final, in the Sweet 16 now, great coaching still gets it done. And it gets it done now more than ever, right? Like, great coaching gets it done, which is why whoever takes the North Carolina job has to have such extreme faith and confidence in their ability to coach that they have to understand, I'm leaving a proven winner here, right? But now I can go somewhere else and win. Now, that's what Hall of Fame coaches, that's what they do. Look at Larry Brown. He was a freaking nomad, one challenge after another. But I think what this thing speaks to here, this graphic speaks to, again, Duke is off the screen, but all those guys are Hall of Famers. Like, pretty much all of them are. And the ones that aren't, very well could be. Like, that's the climate we're talking about now in the Sweet 16. So then it brings me to another point. If you're producing the NCAA tournament in a world where players are experiencing so much turnover, right? Like, teams are experiencing so much turnover with players, whether it is a journeyman who's at his 4th or 5th school, or whether he is a freshman who is going to be at a certain school for 8 months and then he's going to bounce. Now, you have certain superstar freshmen, right? Like Cam Boozer or Kingston Flemings. You have to shine a light on those guys. But the coaches, man, they could be the story into March. Like, look at some of these coaching matchups to start, right? Like, first one. Let me get these broken down for you. Okay. Arizona and Arkansas. Tommy Lloyd and John Calipari. Awesome. And then now it's Sean Miller has some teeth, right? Texas and Purdue. Matt Painter and Sean Miller. Illinois and Houston. Brad Underwood and Kelvin Sampson. John Shire versus Rick Pitino, right? Tom Izzo and Danny Hurley. Dusty May and Nate Oates. Rick Barnes and TJ Otzelberger. Like, those are marquee coaching matchups. So I think we will see this Sweet 16 run. Like, coaching is going to be put back in the forefront of the sport. And what does that mean? Well, that's really good news for coaches, which maybe even goes against the point that I made to start the show. At least it's an argument that if you're a coach and you're looking to get yours financially, the market for coaches, right? Especially as this tournament, as guys get picked off, like if Otzelberger were to lose or Tommy Lloyd is to lose, right? Like all of a sudden, like, you know, Dusty May, they're all of a sudden now in the conversation of like, okay, let's hire these guys right away. And they could really make a ton of money because coaches right now, I think on the market for a job like North Carolina, I think you can command high dollar money. And I think that this final 16 teams is a reflection of why they'll be able to command such a high dollar value, because it's clear that coaches are still the straw that stirs the drink. Very clear. And it's just the way it is. Cam, you got anything? We're about to get out of here. We've been well over.
Man, I think you're making a great point there.
Do you really?
No, seriously. Like I look back at the national champions of my lifetime, and there's one coach that I would not consider to be like a great college basketball coach, and that would be Kevin Ollie. That's the only one.
Oh.
I mean, everything else is Krzyzewski, Williams, Boeheim got one in there, Scott Drew, Bill Self. You know, like I consider those guys to be the top of the craft. Tom Izzo, it's been a while, but Tom Izzo, top of the craft.
By the way,
Calhoun, maybe the most underrated, underappreciated college basketball coach. I don't really know why, but he is. Like I just don't. He's not really discussed the same way that. Like I would take Jim Calhoun over Jim Boeheim. How about that?
You should. Right? I mean, you should.
Yeah.
But you know, missing from that list, by the way, of potential coaches, Scott Drew. How the mighty have fallen, dude. A year ago, he would have been on that list. And 2 years ago, he would have been at the goddamn top. No questions asked.
You know, it's funny. And you're right. But how about Kansas doing the same thing that Baylor's done since winning the national championship? Each of them have failed to make the Sweet 16 since their last national championship.
I think
Kansas,
that's why
same boat.
I think that's why Bill Self's going to stick around. You know what really annoyed me? Like Seth Davis was on the panel on and I kind of crushed CBS, Cam. You and I can go over this later. But like and Nate Burleson, he's not a host. They're crowbarring him into the host role. He's taking what I would say shots away from greats like Clark Kellogg and Charles Barkley, but whatever. So that was an approach they took that I disagree with. But Seth Davis, I don't know where he earns his keep, like on these shows. Like, what exactly do I glean from Seth Davis? I don't really know. To the point where he tried to make, he's the guy on the inside on this desk, and they're talking about Bill Self's career. And Seth Davis says, well, you know, I talked to Bill Self at the beginning of the season, and he mentioned to me, it's like, dude, everybody talked to him at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
Like, it was October.
Things kind of change.
It's almost April, bro. Like, aren't you an insider? Like, I'd rather say nothing at all than say that. Or have a theory that's yours rather than report on something that you learned in October that everybody knows. I'm
Right.
going to need more. I'm going to need more because there are guys at that desk who probably knew more than him, who were just being cool, not saying anything.
Yeah, you know, I talked to some NBA scouts before the season, and they didn't think Tabonsa would be the number one pick.
Yeah.
Stuff changes.
It's
Fecal matter
news.
changes.
Honestly, what does Seth Davis, what have you ever had a Seth Davis conversation, or has Seth Davis ever brought you something where you've been like knocked on your ass? I'm being
Dude,
honest.
As soon as you were winding up that question, I had the answer ready to go of like, I've never talked about Seth Davis.
No.
Or I've never been like, ooh, look what Seth Davis reported. And he might have reported something, I guess. But like Rothstein, you talk about, he's, you know, Rothstein and Goodman are kind of your Schefters of college basketball. Like, love them or hate them, they're very much in the conversation all the time. But yeah, Seth Davis, what's he doing for you?
I don't know.
Not adding some glitter. He's not adding a lot of color. He's not breaking stuff.
No.
I don't doubt that he knows college basketball, but so do a lot of other schmucks.
I mean,
I know college basketball.
And I'm not saying he wasn't a great writer at one point, right? But
No, I think
even
he
then,
was. Yeah.
Even then, I don't remember reading like a Seth Davis story that like I was so moved, or like, do you remember the Seth Davis story that changed such and such's basketball program? Like, no, I don't. So we're down on Seth, but we'll check Cauchy. Maybe tomorrow his stock will be back up with some important news. But that's going to do it for us here today. Thank you so much to Avery Johnson. We got an early start today, and Avery was amazing. If you want to go back and watch the interview, it'll be up a little later in the day. And also you can take a look at some of the initiatives that Avery's got going, some special stuff. And you can also listen to what he said about the North Carolina job. I thought it was pretty revealing. Thanks to Chris Visser. Thanks so much to Cam Stewart. Thanks to you guys. And thanks to Slovaceks and Cauchy. And, that's right, Bumblebee Blinds. I mean, what am I doing here? Bumblebee Blinds. I'd like you to go and get a consultation of Bumblebee Blinds. If you're in the market for window dressing blinds, it's a free consultation. They're all over Texas, right? They're all over the country, really. But they have stops in Central Texas, in the DFW area. That's the place to go. Get your free consultation. See what you think. BumblebeeBlinds.com. Again, that's BumblebeeBlinds.com. They take good care of you, and they look good as well. How about Lake Waco Golf Club? Come on now. You know where it is. North side of Lake Waco. An exclusive 18-hole executive par 18-hole, and then an executive par 3 course, and then an amazing grill, an amazing pro shop, and opportunities to become a member, all at very affordable prices. Go to LakeWacoGC.com. Again, that is LakeWacoGC.com. It's time. It's golf time, man. I mean, after basketball, all we're going to be talking about is the Masters after the Final Four. You're going to want to be out there. Get an early start because your friends are going to want to take you out and play in a foursome. And will you have practice? Will you be ready when everybody gets the itch? Lake Waco Golf Club can get you ready. LakeWacoGC.com. We will see you tomorrow.
It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at 70 miles an hour. I was injured, had a concussion. The insurance company, they delayed. They were playing games from the initial conversation. They weren't going to help me. The biggest thing I learned through this is that you can't go through this alone. I called Daniel Stark. They were going to help me and everything was going to be all right. Daniel Stark got me 10 times the insurance company offered.
The difference is Stark.
Nalgene Outdoor has been your trusted companion, fueling adventures and helping protect the planet. We're committed to reducing waste, improving access to clean water, and providing simple, safe, and sustainable products for you and your family. NALGENE.com.
professionals are not only experts in managing urgent concerns, but also in providing top-notch preventative health care. We're proud to connect pet owners to a vast network of licensed veterinary professionals, ready to address any immediate concerns. Book your first appointment today.
Sports.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production.